mystery of prime numbers. Have you ever walked into a hospital and felt like the place was hiding a secret? Not just the usual kind of eerie, but something truly bizarre? That's what happened to me one night at St. Anthony's Hospital in Chicago. I thought I was just visiting a friend whose wife was about to have a baby. Instead, I stumbled upon a strange, unexplainable pattern, something that seemed almost supernatural. It wasn't the nurses, the doctors, or the patients. It was the numbers. And trust me, by the end of the night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was a chilly Friday night when I got a call from Jason. His wife, Emily, had just been admitted to St. Anthony's Hospital in Chicago. She was in labor, and Jason sounded both excited and nervous. "Hey, if you're not busy, swing by," he said. "I could use some company. Emily's resting for now." I wasn't far, so I decided to stop in. The maternity ward was unusually quiet for a big city hospital, with only the soft beeping of monitors breaking the silence. When I stepped into room 8, Jason was pacing like a man who just discovered coffee. "Finally, someone to talk to," he said with a nervous laugh. We chatted about everything and nothing, his nerves, the baby, how Emily was handling it. Then Jason suddenly stopped mid-sentence. "You know, there's something weird about this floor," he said, lowering his voice. "The room numbers." "What about them?" I asked. "Okay, hear me out," he said, glancing toward the hallway. "Room 1 had a stillbirth, tragic, I know. But room 2 had a girl, room 3 had a girl, room 4 had a boy, room 5 another girl. You see the pattern?" I shrugged. "Not really." Jason leaned closer. "Prime-numbered rooms. Every prime-numbered room except one has had a girl. The even-numbered, non-prime ones? Boys, I even asked the nurses. They laughed, but they didn't deny it." I stared at him. "You're telling me the hospital room numbers are predicting baby genders?" "I'm just saying it's weird," Jason said, holding up his hands. "Emily's in room 8, non-prime, and guess what? We already know it's a boy." I didn't know what to say. It sounded ridiculous. Then Emily's monitor beeped, and Jason's focus snapped back to her. A nurse came in, and within an hour, Emily delivered a healthy baby boy. Before I left, I noticed room 10 had just been occupied by another couple. A few days later, Jason texted me, "Room 10 had a boy." "Told you." I didn't reply. I was still trying to decide if it was all a strange coincidence or something the hospital wasn't telling us. Back in 2003, during the SARS outbreak, chaos ruled in a Toronto hospital that had been repurposed as a containment zone. Dr. Elena Carter, head of infectious diseases, was running on fumes. Patients were pouring in, and the staff was stretched thin. Dr. Carter, a nurse called, running toward her. "You're going to want to see this." She followed the nurse to the yellow zone, a wing for patients who weren't confirmed cases but showed suspicious symptoms. The nurse handed her a chart. Rooms 2, 3, 5, and 7, all feverish, all coughing. Elena frowned. "That's odd." She scanned the other charts. None of the non-prime numbered rooms showed similar symptoms. Dr. Paul Logan, the hospital's chief epidemiologist, joined her. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking we might have a cluster in those rooms," she said. "We need to run tests immediately." Over the next 48 hours, tension in the hospital reached a breaking point. Staff whispered about the prime number wing. Nurses avoided those rooms, unless necessary, and even the janitors hesitated to enter. But the test results surprised everyone. The patients in rooms 2, 3, 5, and 7 didn't have SARS. They had ordinary colds or mild respiratory infections. Meanwhile, patients in rooms 4, 6, and 8, rooms that had been considered low risk, developed severe complications. Dr. Carter couldn't explain it. "Prime numbers don't make people sick or healthy," she told Paul one night in the break room. But she couldn't shake the feeling that the numbers weren't just random. The pattern haunted her for years. She often wondered if she'd missed something, a clue that could have saved more lives. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as I sat in the interrogation room, staring at the metal table. Across the hall, Eric was in another room, probably sweating as much as I was. The cops had split us up the moment we got caught leaving that jewelry store. A detective walked in, dropped a folder on the table, and sat across from me. "All right, here's the deal," he said, his voice gruff. "You talk, and we'll cut you a break. 10 years for your buddy, but you go free." I swallowed hard. "And if I don't talk?" He shrugged. "Then we throw the book at both of you. 8 years each, or You both keep quiet, and you get 1 year max for trespassing. Your choice. I knew Eric. He was my best friend, my partner in crime, literally. But could I trust him to stay quiet? If he talked and I didn't, I'd get 10 years while he walked free. I had minutes to decide, and the room felt like it was closing in on me. Across the hall, Eric was probably thinking the same thing. We both had families, lives we didn't want to lose. In the end, survival instincts won. I confessed. When they walked me back to the holding cell, I saw Eric being led down the hall. Our eyes met, and I knew. He'd confessed too. 8 years, I muttered under my breath. 8 damn years. The dance floor at Inferno was packed. The bass was so loud it felt like my chest might explode. My friends and I were shouting over the music when the fire alarm went off. At first, no one took it seriously. Then someone screamed, "Fire!" Panic hit like a tidal wave. People shoved and screamed, racing toward the exits. The main door was massive, but it was jammed with bodies in seconds. I grabbed Kelly's arm. "The side door! Let's go!" We pushed our way toward the smaller exit, but a guy ahead of us froze. "Move!" I yelled, but he just stood there, eyes wide. The crowd behind us was closing in, and I could feel the heat of the fire. Kelly shoved past him, dragging me along. "Don't stop!" she yelled. We made it through the side door, but not everyone was so lucky. Inside, someone grabbed a fire extinguisher and started spraying the flames. His quick thinking saved dozens of lives, but others were trampled in the chaos. One girl tripped near the main exit, and the crowd surged over her. By the time the fire department arrived, the flames were out, but the damage was done. People were injured, some badly. That night stayed with me for years. It wasn't just about surviving the fire. It was about how quickly fear can turn people into something unrecognizable.